This is J.D. Vance. One more clip from J.D. Vance and a series of train wrecks that he was involved with Sunday. Here he is with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. She's asking J.D. Vance about Trump's, love life, or I guess, platonic love life with Laura Loomer.
His muse.
His muse. She's great. She doesn't work for the campaign, but she's working for the campaign.
If you know what I mean.
If you know what I mean.
I can't control her.
She's a free spirit. Well, here he is answering her, and he can't help but to drop in a bit of racism, which, of course, this is the way that they do it publicly, right? Like, this is what, not Ailes, but the other guy, on his deathbed, Ailes' mentor.
Murdoch?
No. Lee Atwater on his deathbed, was talking about, we used to say, we used to talk about black people, and then we couldn't anymore, so we just started using busing, and then we used welfare, and it was all these things to sort of trigger this reaction. But it was also had some measure of plausible deniability, and J.D. Vance takes this to a new heights.
Been talking to allies of former President Trump who are frankly outraged. They're alarmed that Donald Trump has been traveling with Laura Loomer. She is someone who says she supports white nationalism. She spread conspiracy theories, including that the September 11th attacks are an inside job. She recently said that Kamala Harris, whose mother was Indian, if she wins in November, quote, the White House will smell like curry. Senator, you are married to an Indian American woman. What was your reaction to hearing those comments specifically?
Well, Kristen, I want to go back to what you said about Haitian migrants to begin with, because you didn't give me a chance to respond. Look, we don't blame the Haitian migrants for coming to Springfield. We blame Kamala Harris for opening the American southern border and inviting 20,000 people to get dropped in a small Ohio town.
Pause it for a second. Let me just, again. They weren't dropped. Following COVID, Springfield, Ohio needed workers. There were some Haitian immigrants there. They hired some. The Haitian immigrants, they said to their Haitian immigrant employees, like, do you have any cousins or family? Because you guys are great.
That's what one of the bosses in Springfield said. I mean, it was a little offensive, but like in the way he talked about other workers, but
so they're on drugs.
But he was praising them, and also,
And so the people didn't drop in there.
No,
they weren't dropped off there.
They're here legally.
Haitian immigrants here legally all made their way there because they have friends and family there.
They're in fact your constituents, JD.
Exactly.
But put that aside, because he's got more offensive things to say than that.
20,000 people to get dropped in a small Ohio town. Now, you asked about Laura Loomer. Look, Laura Loomer is not affiliated with the Trump campaign. She said something about curry in the White House that I first read about this morning, actually, because I knew that you would ask me about it. Look, Kristen, I make a mean chicken curry. I don't think that it's insulting for anybody to talk about their dietary preferences or what they want to do in the White House. I think what Laura said about Kamala Harris is not what we should be focused on. We should be focused on the policy and on the issues. And look, so yeah, do I agree with what Laura Loomer said about Kamala Harris? No, I don't. I also don't think that this is actually an issue of national import. Is Laura Loomer running for president? No. Kamala Harris is running for president, and whether you're eating curry at your dinner table or fried chicken, things have gotten more expensive thanks to her policies. Let's talk about the person running for president of the United States, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
Senator, were you?
Well, let's also be clear. I mean, she's not just a social media person who supports Donald Trump. She's literally riding with him on his airplane. Mm-hmm. She is the first person off the plane after him at the debate. I mean, this isn't just some rando.
He's blowing kisses to her at the RNC.
I mean, this isn't just some type of rando. She's like regularly meeting with him. And it's a story.
It would be like if Kamala Harris had Brian Krasenstein on the airplane with her on Air Force Two, and then they were caught like canoodling and giving each other little pecks on
She's
the
like,
cheek.
Kamala, I love you.
So Hank Aaron and Kaz Abbage also bring up the point as to why we play these. Wait, these guys were mad about white guy tacos a few days ago, and they're saying the curry comments are all right?
Yes.
Kaz Abbage says, y'all caught that fried chicken dog whistle, right? Yes, of course.
Well, that's why we played it, is because I think a lot of outlets miss this, but he's doing a Nazi dog whistle. I mean, this is the campaign that they're essentially running. Like, they're taking the word of a neo-Nazi about the Haitian migrants in Springfield, and then he gives a, like, as you say, Sam, this is the Republicans and how they've trained their base, and particularly their white nationalist base. They know what he means when he says fried chicken. It's that she's black and Indian.
I don't think that's the purpose of it. I think the purpose of him going on and saying something like that is to get the campaign to say, hey, this fried chicken thing was offensive. So they can say, like, why are you always making it about race? Like, this is why they do this. Because those those right wingers, they know where JD Vance is on this. They don't need, like, they're satisfied. At this point, what they need is to broaden to people who just don't want to consider race. And so this is, when JD Vance says that is a honeypot. He is hoping that somebody from the campaign says this fried chicken comment, it's pretty obvious what it is. It's offensive. And he can come back going like, they're making it always about race at every time. Now, compare and contrast this with Rich Lowry, who was recently on this thing with Megyn Kelly. Now,
Racist lady.
I want to make it clear. Now, Megyn Kelly has her own sort of past, and she's recently been like, I've got to get back into the mix of things. It really does feel like she realizes, like, oh, I need to. I'm well positioned here to maybe have a little bit of a comeback within the go back to my roots, where she was, on Fox News, bashing people for even contemplating the idea that Santa Claus is not really white. Incidentally, Santa Claus speaks English in America, but you're not going to believe this. In Germany, German.
Wow.
Very weird.
He's very well educated.
But no, it's just amazing how, but now I'm comparing and contrasting this with Rich Lowry because it's gotten a lot of attention. And I don't know what's in Rich Lowry's heart, but I can guess. And I don't know what Rich Lowry says behind closed doors. But
now I have a sense now.
And, listen, everybody slips up every now and then on news hits.
Like,
it's just, this is a funny slip up.
Like when you refer to Liz Cheney as Lynn Cheney.
Yeah. Of course. It's something that actually happens when I'm off camera, too.
Totally.
And sometimes you bring that.
And your lack of respect for the subject matter kind of contributes to the error.
That's true, too. All right, so let's watch this. People can decide for their own. But the point is, I'm trying to contrast this with what J.D. Vance did. I actually think J.D. Vance's was more with more racist intent. I think this was just a flub by Rich Lowry that may have been a little bit revealing.
I mean, he is a racist guy, but I don't know about this yet.
Finally, he said something to the effect of, look, if we have to create stories in order to bring attention to what's happening, the media, he admits they made it up, right? As opposed to, and if you listen to the full clip, he says, by drawing attention to what's happening on the ground, it's just, as this line goes online, you don't hate the media enough. Go ahead.
You remember Alternative Facts with Kellyanne? They did the same thing. She wasn't saying you make up fictions and pretend they're facts. You bring other facts to bear in the debate that are being ignored. And that's what he was saying. And I think it was in that interview where Dana Bash says, the police have gone through 11 months of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking geese from ponds. Only 2 calls. And whoopsie. I think one lesson in this whole story, people don't care about geese. People really hate geese. They all things considered, I think people would prefer Haitian migrants to come and take the geese off the golf course, right? So it's pets, it's the cats and dogs has become the standard. Geese clearly don't don't matter.
I mean, I read
moving
online to
on.
protect.
Everybody was a little bit uncomfortable after that moment. That's
Okay.
weird. I mean, who amongst us hasn't mispronounced an M for an N and changed the intonation of the I and added an R at the end before the G? That happens all the time.
So he's basically saying he was trying to say migrants, but again, he would have been trying to say like migrants in an entirely different way than you would pronounce migrants. Migrants. Right. Well, I didn't mean to be
Well,
like.
but the weird part too, though, is that the R has a very, very different function in the word migrant than it does in the word that he seemed to accidentally say. But let's take him at his word. This is somebody pointed it out on Twitter, and Andy McCarthy, also from the National Review. Is he still there? This guy's horrible. Ridiculous. Rich Lowry, not tagged here, Natch. I don't get it. He literally is tagged there.
In what he's quote tweeting.
He's quote tweeting.
Oh, I see. Obviously got crossed up between immigrants, short I, and migrants, long I.
Nope.
Immigrants and migrants, migrant. That is also not what it sounds like. But okay. Started mispronouncing migrants with a short I and an N, and instantly corrected himself with no embarrassment because it was patently a mispronunciation. And then Rich Lowry comes in. Yes, this is exactly what happened. I began to mispronounce the word migrants and caught myself halfway through. I mean, I think it's true. He weirdly pronounced it with an N and an I in a different way and a G, and then forgot the word ants.
Yeah. I mean, what can we say?
I mean, I think it's plausible that he misspoke in a way that sounds.
Have you seen the ones where it's slowed down?
I haven't, no. But I mean, the thing is, like, so here's the thing. I don't know what he was intending to say there. I do know what's in his heart. Like, Rich Lowry is a racist guy.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
The National Review does not allow you to go see their archives of things they were saying, say, when Martin Luther King was alive. Like, the jury's in. Like, this, I think the problem I have with emphasizing this as opposed to, say, that history is because I think this is debatable and gets you into that low information problem of, like, making things look petty and being like, well, everything's a minefield.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, look, I want to be clear here. My point in showing the Lowry thing is, we don't know what's in his heart. We can look at his writing and then make broad assumptions over time. And I wouldn't be shocked if someone says, oh, yeah, he regularly uses that word at the office.
Nor me, yeah.
But what I think is more sort of race baiting than that, he was clearly, if that's what he said, he clearly said it by accident. He's just used to saying it maybe off camera and, went to town. But J.D. Vance, when he's on there, he knows exactly what he's doing when he says curry or fried chicken.
Yeah.
He is trying to goad the Harris campaign into engaging him on that so that he can turn around saying they make everything about race. And it's smart that they're not taking the bait. And we said this 3 weeks before Biden dropped out, or 2 weeks, that if Harris became the nominee, the Republicans would have such a problem because the only thing they know how to do with a person of color, it's like it's like moths to the light.
It was just, it's so hard to watch him like try to justify it because at the end of the day, it feels true, right? To a degree. And he did say it. And part of it is, I think maybe I'm just ignorant to like, there's a whole percentage of this country that says that word all the time behind the scenes. And they like get off on the fact that they can't say it in public almost, and they can say it in certain circles. And he was feeling, I think, a little bit too comfortable with Megyn Kelly in their highfalutin media critique. I mean, that is, that's what slipped out.
I'm sorry. I thought we were just around the office. Everything got so comfortable.
He's the kind of guy that hears like that song being used in a song on the radio or whatever, or on Spotify, and then says it full-throatedly because he gets to at that time period, in that period, right? There's like a good amount of white Americans who have this kind of like, it's not, who are so racist, and they enjoy the fact that they can be among people at certain occasions and say that thing privately.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.